Hello, my dear friends, and welcome to Dr.Monkey, where we laugh together and cry together, but hopefully take something away to treat each other a little better. Here's some interesting stories. One about an entitled kid who eats a crab in an aquarium store, and mom defends him. Please subscribe if you haven't, and I hope you'll enjoy it. Story 1. Alright, boys and girls, this seems super unbelievable. But when you've been working in the pet trade as a sales associate for long enough in the weird areas, you start to see your fair share of entitled kids and crap-stained parents. My first of many stories, so don't be too harsh. For context, I work at a mom-and-pop pet store in the eastern U.S. While my expertise is in aquatics, I try to be a jack of all trades. The day that this happened was rather uneventful, until this point. All up until the little crap, LS, and idiot parent, PF, entered the store. My store was pretty modest, so it was fairly easy to see the customers come in and out, especially in the fish department. So I got the first look at these magnificent creatures. A 40-something-year-old woman talking on her cell, her hair obviously dyed blonde, and an outfit practically screaming midlife crisis, while her child was in tow. The kid must have been 7 or 8. The kid was playing on his Switch. His shirt was covered what looked like a mixture of pizza sauce, soda, and plenty of mystery stains. At first, things were pretty normal. The kid originally not caring about anything in the store while PF was getting enraged at him for not paying attention. Though, that changed rather fast. PF and LS were near the ferrets when PF took LS's Switch, immediately causing a reaction of screaming and pouting before being distracted by some of the fish over in my department. Alright, a bit of unnecessary information, but the way my store's fish department is set up is that 2/5 of it is freshwater, 2/5 is equipment, and the rest is saltwater. Given we weren't really known for saltwater, we only kept pretty generic yet sought-after fish like hippo tangs, various clownfish, six-line rosses, etc. The thing about the first two is because of Finding Nemo. Kids are always drawn to the Dories or Nemos. Alright, that all in mind, the first thing Ellis did was head over to the small assortment of hippo tangs we had. Practically pressing his crap-covered face against the glass as he yelled out, "Dory!" as loud as he could. PF held me down from algae scrubbing, and this started the encounter. I like to act casual around the workplace as I find it lowers any sort of anxiety a customer has and makes me more approachable. First thing out of my mouth was, me. "Hey there, how's your night going? Need help with something?" PF started out our encounter with a roll of the eyes before pointing to the tang and demanding a price with a simple but rude, "PF, how much for this thing?" was the way she said it that was rude. After shifting gears from a casual standing to a more professional one, I simply told her that the tang was the 160. He was a good-sized tang. She of course scoffed, but what came next was a bit more worrying. PF pulled out $30 from her purse and placed it on the desk we used to bag fish, saying in an aggravated tone, "PF, that's all you're getting, bag 'em." Things start to go poorly from here. It's worth noting that it's 9:15 at this point, the store having closed 15 minutes ago, though we make it a policy not to ask customers to leave until 9:30. It was just my manager and myself at this point, my manager in the office closing down registers, so essentially it was like I was the only employee in the store. Seeing PF placing the $30 on the table, I raised an eyebrow before leaning against the wall, simply asking her, "Me, do you have a saltwater tank?" She didn't take this well. She screamed without a second passing, "PF, none of your freaking business. Now bag my fish, you stupid little crap." I simply refused and slid her $30 back towards her before she slid it back, now more ticked off. "PF, I'm going to get your rear fired if you don't bag my fish right now." At this, LS was getting ticked at the interaction, screaming like a banshee about how he wanted the tang, still referring to it as Dory, and beginning to stomp his feet in a tantrum. Soon enough, I was asking them to leave. This was where I screwed up. I should have called the cops at this point, knowing that she wasn't going to leave without a fight. Ellis was on the floor at this point, pounding his fist to the floor as snot dripped from his face as PF tried to guilt trip me. PF: Sorry, sweetie. This guy doesn't want you to have the fish. He's perfectly fine with you having no fish for him to make you happy. At this point, she turned back to me. PF: Do you see what you did, you stupid idiot? You're breaking my angel's heart because you're being too much of a jerk to sell me the fish. Internally, I was laughing. This kind of situation happened now and again. But the anti-Semitism was a new one. I'd figured everything was starting to resolve at this point. No, I was mistaken. LS flipped out. Bummer. You know how some opera singers can break glass with their voice? This kid would have been a knack for something like that. LS was screaming as loud as humanly possible at this point, as he managed to reach into the tank. At last, my manager made his way out of the office and was watching what was going on. LS grabbed a piece of live rock, accidentally grabbing a long spine urchin. Angry screaming turned right to wails of pain as he pulled a rock out of the tank, a poor little pom-pom crab in tow. At this point, I was less focused on the kid, but more focused on making sure my manager was calling 911, which he did. When I turned around, I saw something that still gives me nightmares to this day. The kid had been clutching his hand while his mother tried to help him, something hanging out of his mouth. The poor little pom-pom crab had been crushed by the kid, LS having shoved it into his mouth and chomping down on it, leaving a little claw hanging out of his mouth. The next 2 minutes was a strange combination of astonishment and panic. Myself telling the kid not to move his hand since he would break the spines of the urchin, while the PF hitting me with her crappy purse screaming that I hurt her kid. Me: Your kid shoved his hand into a tank, one with toxic animals nonetheless. Fox-faced rabbitfish. And he did this to himself. Calm the heck down and leave him alone so when the paramedics get here, they can get the spines out. PF: How dare you? You expect me to let my little angel suffer? If you had just sold me the stupid fish, this would never have happened. Me: Your kid reached into the tank and ate a crab. What the heck did you teach this kid? PF: Don't you ever tell me how to raise my angel. He had the right to eat that crab. You took something from him, and he took something from you. By the end of this interaction, the paramedics had arrived, restraining the kid and taking him into the ambulance as the police tried to sort things out. Unsurprisingly, PF tried to pin everything on me, saying I threw an urchin at him. What the heck? And he ate the crab in a panic. Equally unsurprisingly, we had the entire thing on CCTV, including PF hitting me with her purse. Long story short, PF was arrested for aggravated assault, as apparently she had stuffed the rock into her bag to give it an extra punch. Didn't notice until after the paramedics saw me that I was bleeding on my leg from the jagged live rock. After getting a statement from the cops, PF and LS were going off to wherever the heck the cops took them, and I got out of everything with 8 stitches and a $300 bonus from my boss for handling the situation without anyone getting seriously injured. From what I ended up hearing, the kid had actually got stung by the fox-face's dorsal spines, and that sent him into a blind rage. The mom got a plea deal and she ended up with a huge fine, some jail time, and some other stuff. In summary, I didn't sell Ian a fish. Kid flipped crap, grabbed an urchin, and ate a crab. Ian got arrested for assault. This was by far the worst situation I'd ever had in this store, and I still can't believe the outcome till this day. This was 3 years ago now. I was in work the other day when I saw a pouting kid by mom not letting him get to the hippo tank, and this had been brought to the front of my mind ever since. Edit. At work at the moment. Gonna try and find out what happened from my boss later. Just noticed an inconsistency with the timeline. Switch wasn't out yet. I personally always remember it as a Switch, though, given the circumstances, there's a big chance that it was an iPad or something similar in shape. Edit. So a lot of you guys have been asking about what ended up happening to PF and LS. I had sat down with my boss this morning and asked about the events, and while I didn't get all of the answers I was looking for, this is what he had to say. As I've stated, I still stay up now and again wondering what could make people act this way, and I did get a few answers. According to my boss, the woman, PF, was the wife of a known meth dealer, which didn't exactly surprise me given what happens in my town. The cops never had gotten a warrant to search their property for whatever reason, but this had given them the opportunity. From what he told me, the woman was abusing prescription antidepressants and meds for ADD and had a meltdown. Although I pressed charges, I was never called to court, and from what we could assume, PF most likely struck a deal with the police to rat out her husband. I don't know the story with LS, though it wouldn't surprise me if he was on the same toxic cocktail of meds. In regards to the CCTV footage, he had told me that he'd handed it over to the police and couldn't show me for legal reasons, but that there wasn't much to see other than my manager run into the sales floor. The way our CCTV cams are placed only really show part of the sales floor, the office, and the register counter. Medical bills were way easier. I have been on an expensive med not covered by most insurances for most of my life, so I've always had to pay out the rear for a really good insurance company, and this time it paid off. I ended up with a $100 charge for the ambulance, though my boss reimbursed me. Honestly, this was just a really surreal situation, and has really confused me for a while. But I'm pretty happy I got things cleared up. Hopefully PF is rotting in jail, and LS is getting the love and direction he should have been getting all along. This is where you say, "Sorry, sweetie. Your mom seems to think she can make me feel guilty and blame others for the fact she doesn't feel that you're worth her paying full price for something you want. What she doesn't know is that I could care less how you feel, and am not the one who will be stuck dealing with you when you continue this tantrum." Story 2. I'm angry, but I think it's because of the babies that I'm not angry. I'm going to start from Halloween, because that's when it starts. Also, this is kind of shorter than my previous post. Because, honestly, if I leave everything that happened, this would be longer than my other post. So, Halloween, or as my daughter called it, Halloween. She pronounces her E's as W's. It was that time of year where you can scare children, and with no consequences. My husband loves Halloween, because his huge rear is addicted to sugar, and he likes to get dressed up with us as a family. This year my husband was supposed to dress up as Charizard, while my daughter and I dressed as Charmeleon and Charmander. Well, my chameleon costume couldn't fit in my wheelchair, so we let our daughter just dress up as Charmander, and my husband took our girl trick-or-treating, while I stayed home and gave out candy to the rest of the little kids. My daughter and husband were so excited. My husband screaming, "Do you want to go trick-or-treating?" My daughter also screaming, "Yeah, I want to go trick-or-treating." My husband still screaming, "You want to go get some good freaking candy?" My daughter, "Yeah, I want to go get some good freaking candy." My husband, "Let's go!" My daughter, "Let's go!" Me, "Language!" Both my husband and my daughter at the same time, "Sorry!" They are the same person, I swear. When we were picking out our costumes, my husband was just screaming, "Chameleon!" And my daughter will reply back with, "We're turtle!" Just that one part of the pokey rap, and that's it. I only had that in there because I think it's cute, and no one can tell me otherwise. As I handed out candy, I started having pains. I paid no attention to the pain as the twins were always throwing off my groove the whole entire pregnancy. But no, I was going into labor. My AIL brought me inside. Mother-in-law called her son. Then I was sent off to the hospital. And then my son and daughter were born. There were some complications, but we're doing okay. The twins and I. When my daughter was introduced to her siblings, she was surprised that the babies are named after Grandpa, my dad, and my little brother, on my dad's side, was introduced to his nephew and niece. It was a sweet moment. We were able to bring the babies home a couple of days ago, and so I'm happy. These children look like they're screwing Dad. I carried your heavy rears nearly for 9 months. Got my crap ripped open, just for you two to come out looking like your father? The audacity. My oldest looks just like Daddy, but Mommy can't get crap, apparently. My husband even rubs it in my face that the twins look just like him, and that I can't even have one of them. Idiot. Now, when my mother went to the hospital after she got her face caved in by my husband, it really wasn't that bad. She had a broken nose, a few missing teeth, and some scars, bruising. But she could have died. I have help on the inside. My grandpa, my uncle, my 2 younger brothers, to keep an eye on my mom. Apparently, when my mother basically stopped being sedated, she tried breaking out of the hospital and fighting with the nurses and doctors. She even got a psych eval. My extended family, my mom's siblings, realized we moved and have been trying to figure out where we live now by harassing movers, harassing our neighbors, and harassing my husband when he has to go back to the old house. They even waited outside of our house for one of us to return. My family and I have been living in my husband's country home. I have really good fond memories here, a lot of them involving my dad. We haven't got the goose yet. We were waiting for spring to get Mr. Peter Dinklage, but still, I get to see my father's side of the family, his sisters, his mom, my little brother, all the time, and they basically have been here every day helping with the twins. They are staying with us until their home is ready to move into, and I love them so much. When my grandma arrived, she brought some old photo albums for us to look through, and found several pictures of my dad that I never had seen before. Most of my neighbors are so sweet, and my daughter has been making new friends, and she's already biting people. This morning, I got woken by my aunts coming into my room, holding my daughters and son. I was confused. Then I realized I heard screaming from outside. My mom's siblings found out where I live, and they wanted to see the twins. I started having a panic attack. The babies were crying, and one of my aunts was trying to calm us down while the other one called 911. My phone started ringing, and it was my good uncle. He was trying to warn us that his siblings were on the way, and I told him it was too late. He told me that he and my grandfather were on the way. I looked through my phone and saw that both my grandfather and my uncle called me a lot. They were trying to warn me. The cops came and told my mom's siblings to leave. Then my family went, packed up the car, and now they're staying at my brother-in-law's. Come to find out that my mom knows about the twins, and has been posting pictures of them on Facebook. I don't know who gave Satan a cell phone, but they need their rear whooped. She posted pictures of my daughter in her Halloween costume, and her siblings has been updating my life on Facebook. But she also blocked everybody that's on my side from seeing her statuses. The only reason why we found out about what my mom had done, my god-grandfather daughter wasn't blocked from seeing my mom's post. She told her boyfriend, who is my cousin, and he told my grandfather. We don't know who did this. Who in their right mind told my mom this information? Let alone pictures of the twins? I'm ticked. We moved to get away from them, and now they know where we live. They know my children. They know so much about what happened during the birth of my twins. I have no idea who gave my mom this information. We can't think of anybody who would do such a thing. I am beyond sorry to hear that they are invading your life again. But on the bright side, you have 2 beautiful new children that were born on Halloween, no less. Get ready for some awesome birthday parties. Well, guys, that's all for today. If you liked this video, please consider subscribing. And if you missed the last episode on the channel, I'm going to link it right here. The story's about a crazy parent who demanded OP date her daughter, or OP will be fired. Check this out if you haven't, and I'll see you next time on Dr. Monkey.